45. After this the Lydians came bearing the corpse, and behind it followed the slayer. And he, taking his stand before the corpse, delivered himself up to Croesus, holding forth his hands and bidding the king slay him over the corpse, speaking of his former misfortune and saying that in addition to this he had now been the destroyer of the man who had cleansed him of it, and that life for him was no more worth living. But Croesus, hearing this, pitied Adrastus, although he was himself suffering so great an evil of his own, and said to him, "Guest, I have already received from thee all the satisfaction that is due, seeing that thou dost condemn thyself to suffer death. And not thou alone art the cause of this evil, except in so far as thou wert the instrument of it against thine own will, but someone, as I suppose, of the gods, who also long ago signified to me that which was about to be." So Croesus buried his son as was fitting. But Adrastus the son of Gordias, the son of Midas, he who had been the slayer of his own brother and the slayer also of the man who had cleansed him, when silence came of all men round about the tomb, recognizing that he was more grievously burdened by misfortune than all men of whom he knew, slew himself upon the grave. 46. For 2 years then Croesus remained quiet in his mourning, because he was deprived of his son. But after this period of time the overthrowing of the rule of Astyages the son of Cyaxares by Cyrus the son of Cambyses, and the growing greatness of the Persians caused Croesus to cease from his mourning, and led him to a care of cutting short the power of the Persians, if by any means he might, while yet it was in growth and before they should have become great. So having formed this design he began forthwith to make trial of the oracles, both those of the Hellenes and that in Libya, sending messengers some to one place and some to another, some to go to Delphi, others to Abi of the Phocians, and others to Dodona. And some were sent to the shrine of Amphiaros and to that of Trophonios, others to Brunchidae in the land of Miltos. These are the oracles of the Hellenes to which Croesus sent messengers to seek divination. And others he sent to the shrine of Ammon in Libya to inquire there. Now he was sending the messengers abroad to the end that he might try the oracles and find out what knowledge they had, so that if they should be found to have knowledge of the truth, he might send and ask them secondly whether he should attempt to march against the Persians. 47. And to the Lydians whom he sent to make trial of the oracles he gave charge as follows, that from the day on which they set out from Sardis they should reckon up the number of the days following, and on the 100th day they should consult the oracles, asking what Croesus the son of Auletes king of the Lydians chanced then to be doing. And whatever the oracles severally should prophesy, this they should cause to be written down and bear it back to him. Now what the other oracles prophesied is not by any reported, but at Delphi, so soon as the Lydians entered the sanctuary of the temple to consult the god and asked that which they were commanded to ask, the Pythian prophetess spoke thus in hexameter measure. But the number of sand I know, and the measure of drops in the ocean. The dumb men I understand, and I hear the speech of the speechless. And there hath come to my soul the smell of a strong-shelled tortoise boiling in cauldron of bronze, and the flesh of a lamb mingled with it. Under it bronze is laid, it hath bronze as a clothing upon it. 48. When the Pythian prophetess had uttered this oracle, the Lydians caused the prophecy to be written down, and went away at once to Sardis. And when the rest also who had been sent round were there arrived with the answers of the oracles, then Croesus unfolded the writings one by one and looked upon them. And at first none of them pleased him, but when he heard that from Delphi, forthwith he did worship to the god and accepted the answer, judging that the oracle at Delphi was the only true one, because it had found out what he himself had done. For when he had sent to the several oracles his messengers to consult the gods, keeping well in mind the appointed day, he contrived the following device. He thought of something which it would be impossible to discover how to conceive of, and cutting up a tortoise and a lamb he boiled them together himself in a cauldron of bronze, laying a cover of bronze over them. 49. This then was the answer given to Croesus from Delphi. And as regards the answer of Amphiaraus, I cannot tell what he replied to the Lydians after they had done the things customary in his temple, for there is no record of this any more than of the others, except only that Croesus thought that he also possessed a true oracle,